Greetings, my fellow freedom-loving sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Saturday, February 10th, 2018. And it looks like it's going to be a little Mardi Gras happening in New Orleans and all around town. All these little LD miniature romper room versions of the festivities. Yes, and of course, the federal government shut down. They all want to blame one person and all that. But you know what? Congress has that power to make that decision. And I do commend Ron Paul for his opposing the budget. Because he made a lot of sense. We're going to stop spending all this money and raising the debt ceiling. It's totally acidine. Stop bending over for the central banksters, you bunch of pathetic buffoons in the District of Criminals. And you talk to a man who's not a big Trump lover either, but when I see this witch hunt and scapegoating, it's completely irrelevant, grotesque, and blasphemy. Or myth. Yeah, I'm in my camper, just chilling as usual. Nice and quiet. Early Saturday night. But I'll be heading out after this show. Yeah, so, of course, a lot of stuff is occurring around the world, in the country. Let's talk about possible pole shifting. So the climate change, you should look up the pole shifting. Natural News did an article on that. And, of course, I was listening to what Ben Shapiro had to say about Ron Paul. Don't get me wrong, he has his good points, but his rhetoric towards Ron Paul, man, oh man. You chose poorly, Brother Shapiro. Chose poorly. That's why I don't really be a fan or worshiper of you. Listen to your show every time. You chose poorly. Being anti-Zionist isn't anti-Semitic. Get that through your head. Stop bicker flip-flopping. You sound like Mitt Romney and flip-flop Rick Scott. You know, those little pathetic politicians you go after or oppose. And don't get me wrong, he has his good pointers. I'm not going to crucify him completely, but I just listen to that, just bust out laughing. My good grief. If I've been at an event, I'll be laughing. I go, bring out the clowns, bread and circuses. We're the fire spitters, right? Fire blowers. Where are they? Nothing new at all. All this left-right paradigm. Think they're higher than everybody else. They all want to use the blame game. It's like all like a bizarro world. People assume now, the sexual assault, this sexual assault, that, okay, the guy's going to go sexual assault to somebody without due process of law. He's still hanging out with the slime bags that are the perpetrators. And, John Rutherford. No, I've got the guy's name. Shoot. I bet y'all remember him after the event. The whole thing with the child trafficking. Yes, Jeff Sessions, you focus on that. Because piracy, very disgusting. And the state of Florida is like the third state when it comes to child trafficking cases, human trafficking. It's obvious. It's right near the coastline and South Florida, Miami, international community. So, boom, you can blend in real easily. That's a real illegal immigration issue. Innocent people and children are being detained and throw them in here and just let them be treated like they're sexual slave. I don't want to say sexual, but I feel like slaves. I don't consider rape a sex thing either. It's a violent act on an individual, regardless. Yes, men get raped by men too. Alright? So you support all of humanity that are good folks. And that don't violate others. I know I'm ranting a little bit, but I had to get that off my chest. Something to think about. I post that stuff on Facebook and Twitter, Google+. So check those sites out. That'd be great. You can follow me on there. I got other sites as well. You can follow me. Just type in LokiLuck3, the Roman number 3, or number 3. You'll find me. Any search engine. And I will announce the other sites I'm on. So stay calm for your first time listeners out there. All right. So, going to do a few topics. And this one here is about American communism. Came out, I guess, this week by Bob Livingston. It says here, how can human liberty turn into slavery without people's knowledge? Gradualism is the key, and it can be accomplished with gradualism. So there is no need for absolute military conquest. Whatever it takes, 50 years or 100, they at least don't care. They're patient. So how they do it? Change the monetary system to fiat, i.e. paper money. This replaces wealth with fiat and transfers it to the state via inflation and depreciation of the currency. So I want to tell you, my friends out there, capitalism isn't the problem. Open free market capitalism, to be exact. Not statism, state capitalism, or monopolistic capitalism. So when you make these statements, be specific. Don't sound like a parrot. I'll continue on here. Have a graduate income tax. Create wars. Keep race stirred up with class warfare. You see that all the time. A very good example, Charlottesville. Taking down Confederate statues. And don't know the whole entire story. What happened with the United States of America versus the Confederate States. Do your homework. Don't listen to these bobbleheads out there. Destroy the family, put the wife to work. Yeah, 2 incomes, the 90s, right? The new millennium, 2 incomes. Yeah, that sounds real astute. Promote homosexuality, glorify it with the variants such as unisex and transgenderism in order to promote all types of perversion. Always support the right of individuals. But if you're going to conscript down people's throats, then that becomes treacherous. Regardless of what sexuality. You don't violate others. You don't shove it down anyone's throats. Conscription is a form of mind control. I will continue. Create government schools under the name of free public education. Dumb down the people so they can't think. People want free education. Free universities. It's like cutting corners. Got technology. Got the internet. Use it, please. There's your education right there. And build up. There's some great sites. You don't need government schools. We can educate ourselves. Be the rabbi. Be the teachers out there, friends. Promote brotherly love. Altruism. Interesting there. Brotherly love or stab you in the back. I love you, but I will screw you later. Denigrate women. Hold and maintain all historic free-sounding names like Constitution, privacy rights, property rights, American flag, voting rights, democracy, elected representatives, free press, etc., while perverting the institutions themselves. Exactly. They believe in administrative law. You see the flags in the courthouses and certain government buildings and banks have the golden ridges around the flags. Maritime law. Just give you an example. And of course, free people. They want you to have passes, credentials to be in the press. No, free press, not privileged. Use very elite and refined propaganda. This way, put the public on all issues. Best thing to do, read a book by Edward Bernays, Propaganda. You can go online, look it up. Public relations. Keep the people ignorant on gold, real money, erase it from memory. Control guns and weaponry. Cultivate the public to fear guns by promoting the idea that guns are dangerous. Inflate gun accidents and gun instances in nationwide media to sensationalize the negative. Fear is the greatest weapon. Mind control is a hobby. Keep the trusted gang of deep state in power, no matter who is president. Manipulate government statistics, inflation, jobs, money supply. Promote peace and manufacture arms for exports. Be the world's #1 arms manufacturer and exporter of terrorism. Military-industrial complex. Hey, a $700 billion budget, right? For the military. We don't support common defense, but imperial offense. Hallelujah. harass people with foreign bank accounts while having the largest tax haven in the world and through U.S. banks within the U.S. Enslave the world with fiat. Immunistically, a reserve currency don't allow the gold standard anywhere in the world. Study the fall of the Reichsmark in the 1920s. Call land ownership private property, but have perpetual and increasing property taxes. Look what happened to Mugabe. He took the farmland that he has one for himself. Ain't that sweet? Mugabe from Zimbabwe just screwed all the farmers. They say the white guys, the black guys got screwed as well. Confuse the terms liberal, conservative, socialist, communist, fascist, Democrat, Republican, and especially democracy. Yeah, water it down. Be dumb stagnant about it. Just blow it out there. Like say, you're a racist. I don't agree with you. Exactly. Just to give you a fun example. One of the greatest deceptions of all. Persuade the public that there is a national debt and deficit spending. The ruse implies legitimate accounting. The public must not know and must never know that a fiat system implies default for its inception. How, my friends, can there be debt when everybody knows that fiat is created to infinity and no cost? Do we really think the Pentagon lost trillions of dollars? This is a false premise promoted by the media. The money was not lost. It was spent on exactly what the elites and the deep state desire it to be. Spent on without public's knowledge. The money is simply disappeared with accounting. Yes, monopoly money. Same applies to banking. Bank grants loans to buy a home or something or some other large ticket items and calls it your debt. But is it? The bank just created the account out of nothing. It does not even need to have an equal amount of money, and it coffers to make the loan. It costs the bank nothing, but the bank calls it your debt on your mortgage, and you believe that you have debt. Manipulation, of course. The bank invests in you without risk. If you are unable to pay your mortgage, the bank forecloses. It has taken hold of real property under the guise of the consumer have been defaulted on the loan without putting a dime in its own money at risk. The bank is a quasi-governmental institute, like Fannie Mae, own a majority of the houses and lands, and this is economic freedom. Gradualism and deception. No, dear reader, what the above accomplished, the American system is quietly and imperceptibly convert to communism. The American system over the last 100 years has, through gradualism, become benevolent totalitarianism, is a seductive system of psychological warfare coupled with a highly oppressive legal and financial system that essentially puts the people in an economic and political straitjacket while keeping them believing that they are free. Pull down your pants, as long as you got your sports. I'm a slave, I'm a free, and I'll do exactly as I told. The following are the 10 planks of communism. See if you recognize any or all of these in America today. 1. Abolition of property in land and application of all rents of land to public purposes. Private property rights are almost non-existent today. You don't own property. It can be confiscated for non-payment of tribute to the king. Or if a government agency like the Environmental Protection Agency can arbitrarily tell you what you can and can't do with it. 2. A heavy progressive or graduated income tax accomplished via the American tax system, enforced via Gestapo-like Internal Revenue Service. 3. Abolition of rights of inheritance accomplished via the estate tax. 4. Confiscation of private property of all immigrants and rebels, accomplished via rendition and drug laws, allowing law enforcement to confiscate property if it's suspected of being used in the trade or manufacturing of drugs, often without evidence. Yeah, we assume and we're right. Bizarre world, right? Centralization of credit in the hands of the state by means of a national bank with state capital and an exclusive monopoly, accomplished via Federal Reserve, which is not federal and it doesn't hold reserves. Oops, I goofed up here. Oh, I got it back. 6. Centralization of the means of communications and transport in the hands of the state, accomplished via the Federal Communications Commission and the regulated airline industry, Amtrak, public transportation, and the regulated auto industry. Further attempts being made to seize more power through the control. And I hit the button again. Shoot. Sorry about that, my friends. Further attempts being to seize more power through the control of the internet. Yeah, they're manifesting. Net neutrality, remember that? I post something on Facebook on community internets. And that's on the Revolutionary Alliance as well. Check them out. And the cool thing, like I said about that site on the Facebook page, Revolutionary Alliance, we have our differences, but we want to see things better. So we do have like a little think tank, and I like that. Common interest. Comrade and brother Al Suarez started it. 7. Extension of factories and instruments of production owned by the state. They're bringing into cultivation of wastelands and the improvement of the soil, generally in accordance with a common plan, accomplished through price controls on the utilities via their government-supported monopolies and subsidies, tax policies that benefit favored industries or penalize those out of favor. 8. Equal liability of all to work. Establishments of industrial armies, especially for agriculture. Industrial armies accomplished through regulations favoring subsidizing unions. 9. Combination of agriculture with manufacturing industries. Gradual abolition of all this distinction between town and country by more equal distribution of the populace over the country in progress via Agenda 21. Sustainable development, communities, etc. 10. Free education of all children in public schools. Abolition of children's factory labor in its present form. Combination of education with industrial production. Accomplished via the public indoctrination system called public education under the control of the federal government. Child labor laws, which are, in fact, anti-work laws. These planks are supported by major political parties and their politicians. Is this freedom under the republic, or is it something else? I said it before, and it bears repeating. Communism equals socialism, fascism equals democracy. More things change and more stay the same, right? The labels are important to the global elite only insofar as they deceive the masses. We cannot escape this creeping American communism until our intellect overpowers spiritual and political deception. Eventually get the great revelation that politics and organized religion are more alike than they are different. This is the master key and the essential ingredient. Is the key to understanding. And I'm hicking up here. I apologize. And you can see those 10 areas came from the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and one of his sidekicks. And people gotta realize one thing too. Karl Marx, he was a bankster's bellboy. Okay, the big banks, possibly Rothschilds, all that, supported him. That's just an interesting claim, but it has some good merit behind it. But it's like this, my friends. This is why we have states' rights. They want things centralized. We want the popular vote instead of the electoral college. I'm like, you guys are out of your minds. That's what we call the United States, not the centralized states. Plus, we gotta denounce the United States of America as a federal corporation under Title 42 U.S. Code, Section 3002, subsection 15. Look it up. And I did a thing on there. United States of America, the United States as a corporation. It's one of my. I was like, woo, almost 4 years. Yeah, it happened over 4 years ago. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun, right? That's one of the areas, folks, you got to really look into. So that's why I'm always critical, but have great amount of merit. All right, next one here, my friends, came from SHTF Plan, which is shitehitthefanplan.com. Says a shock. News Corp CEO wants the alternative media censored so mainstream media companies can control the flow of information, make more money. Look at that. Yeah, Communist Manifesto 101. Fascism 101. Totalitarianism 101. Let's see what they have to say about this. In a shocking admission by a high-level mainstream media operative, the CEO of News Corp has revealed that major media corporations are pushing the likes of Google and Facebook to censor the alternative media, despite the fact that the vast majority of Americans have little to no trust in the establishment press. The comments made by the CEO of Robert Murdoch's publishing arm, Robert Thompson, were revealed in an AFP article about the so-called dysfunctional online environment, which in reality actually refers to free internet where independent reporters can reach the masses themselves. Amazingly, Thompson not only made clear that the mainstream media wants to censor the alternative press, he's even admitted that it not only has to do with the control of information, but also straight up money. AFP reports Thompson said the steps announced by Facebook and Google to stem misinformation and improve the quality of online news were modest steps toward changing the digital environment that is dysfunctional at its core. The bot-infested Badlands are hardly a safe space for advertisers whose brands are being tainted by association with the extreme, the violent, and the repulsive. Shoot. Thompson said News Corp is seeing growth in online visits and subscriptions to its media properties, such as Wall Street Journal and the Sun of Britain, but added that the potential returns of our journalism would be far higher in a less chaotic, less debased digital environment. A longtime critic of the dominant online companies, Thompson said he welcomed the decision by Google to end the first click-free requirement for news items such as queries and Facebook's efforts to enable readers to know more about sources of articles on its news feed. In other words, we will make more money if those pesky social media giants would just commit to full on censoring any media outlet that isn't approved by the establishment. They want to tell you what to read, when to make love, and when to wipe your ends, right? My nannies. Yes, master. Can I give me what you want? I'll say, you're right. I'm the idiot. I'm the moron. I'm the butt boy, and you're the doormat. Interestingly, multimedia outlets owned by News Corp have also began to push a censor alternative viewpoints on platforms such as YouTube and Facebook. I can say that for a fact. It happened to me. In fact, news outlets across the mainstream media are engaging in a concerted effort to stifle independent American voices. Interesting here, InfoWars reports it's understandable why Thompson is so paranoid about mainstream publications being supplanted given News Corp's recent financial figures. The company recorded a $66 million loss for a quarter ending in December. Advertising income is also down 6% from a year ago. Wall Street Journal has led the crusade against independent content creators for last year. Most notorious smearing YouTuber PewDiePie as a Nazi as part of a campaign to drown out non-mainstream voices. So all you folks out there, support PewDiePie, okay? All right. That person's doing something right. If these mainstream establishments are offended, then it has to be good. Earlier this week, the WSJ published yet another hit piece which lobbied YouTube to censor alternative media by having its algorithm demote on non-mainstream content. The writer of the article, Jack Nickens, bragged about how he had complied list of a fringe and divisive content, then presented it to YouTube. You then promised they'd be working hard to bury such content in the favor of mainstream media outlets. At this point, it cannot be more clear the establishment, deep state puppets in the mainstream media are actively pushing the liberal-leaning social media giants to censor news outlets such as this one in a desperate attempt at stopping Americans from learning the truth. This is from Alex Thomas. They came out the 9th. They're right. It's the information war, my friends. They don't want critical thinkers. They want us to be dumb, stagnant, and happy. Be numbered. Be their demonods, for goodness sakes. You gonna fall for it? Hell, I'm not. And there's other outlets out there. You can post these videos. They're anti-YouTube. They hate and Google bash. Google, anti-Google. And we may not need them anytime soon. But we still got to push for it. Be vigilant. And keep these parasites on their toes. We are actually whipping their behinds in the information war. And I'm enjoying every minute of it. And hopefully you're doing the same. It's to all my brothers and sisters out there around the world. It doesn't matter where you're from. If you're tuning in, Thank you. That's the best podcaster out there. I boldly admit that. But, however, I enjoy what I do. So, something really cool, man. Even though Max Slavo, he does stuff for InfoWars and all that. But, you know what? It has a lot of facts on what's going on. So, you always got to look at everything in the big picture. And they're worried because they are really being embarrassed on what's happening to them. So, I'm going to take a quick break in a moment. So, stay tuned. Alright, cool. So, I'm going to do one more here. And it's actually from a website. Came out yesterday as well. And it's from the Foundation for Individual Rights and Education. For acronym FIRE, F-I-R-E. Came out yesterday. It says here, bill to prohibit campus free speech zones introduced in the U.S. Senate by Tyler Coward. On Wednesday, Senator Orrin Hatch of Utah announced that he was introducing legislation to protect free speech on campus. The bill, called the Free Right to Expression and Education Act, will prohibit public institutions and higher education from quarantining free expression into small, misleadingly labeled free speech zones on their campuses. If enacted, the measure would free tens of thousands of public universities from these restrictive, unconstitutional zones. The right to expression in the Education Act states, in part, every public institution of higher education may not prohibit a person from freely engage in non-commercial expressive activities in an outdoor area on the institution campus if the conduct is lawful. This bill will allow universities to enforceable reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions on speech occurring in the open outdoor areas in the public, but those restrictions will not follow to applicable standards set by the Supreme Court. FIRE has long argued that public colleges and universities must once and for all abandon the use of so-called free speech zones. As we've noted through the years, free speech zones or other permitting schemes at colleges and universities have been used to stifle student speech from across the political spectrum. FIRE's Stand Up for Speech legislation project has sponsored litigate several free speech zone cases, including on behalf of students distributing animal rights literature at California State Polytechnic University, Pomona, a student advocating for Second Amendment rights at Bling College, a student asking fellow students at Citrus College to sign a petition protesting the National Security Agency, and a Los Angeles Pierce College student handing out Spanish language copies of the Constitution. Colorado, Virginia, Missouri, Arizona, and Utah have already passed legislation banning public colleges and universities from regulating student expression from free speech zones, with Carolina and Tennessee prohibiting their use in more comprehensive legislation protecting student expression. The Free Right to Express and Education Act introduction comes a few months after Phil Rowe of Tennessee introduced the House Bill Resolution 307, which is sponsored by both Republican and Democratic members of the House of Representatives. The resolution expresses the sense of the House of Representatives that the free speech zones and the restrictive speech codes are inherently at odds with the freedom of speech guaranteed by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. FIRE is pleased to see this legislation introduced in the Senate, and we look forward to supporting it. Passing this bill would go a long way to extending free speech rights to colleges and students nationwide. We are hopeful that the bill will pass both chambers and signed into law. Well, I gotta say this: it is a good bill, but some people may question, hey, how come it's on the federal level, not the state level? Well, I can tell you this: I recommend all the people on the state level have a similar bill to that. Bring it to your state government and let them know, hey, free speech is legal in these public facilities, guaranteed in our state constitution as well. Because even in the Florida Constitution, Article 1, Section 4, which is called free speech, that should not be infringed, okay, and abridged, along with there's something liable may be different. But however, Section 5, right to peacefully assemble, should not be infringed or abridged. So, and that's natural, it is under basic rights as well under Article 1, Section 2. All certain natural born rights are inalienable. So, free speech is a natural right. And a public facility is a natural right to express your freedom of speech. No ends, ifs, or buts. Yeah, so the truth of the matter is, how is it going to be implemented? But it's why on a 10th Amendment issue, I'm expecting that, do it on the state level. So, yeah, I'm not arguing about it, but thinking the bigger picture. And the group, the organization from FIRE, will agree with me on that in good faith. So, that is it. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share through social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you may send something that's interesting, maybe I'll check out. Whatever you do, please address your correspondences with decorum. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, YouTube, Freedoms Network, Minds.com, FutureNet.club, Patreon.com/LookALike3, and Gab, Gab.ai, which is more of a free speech version of Twitter. In addition, you can hit me at LookingLuck3@gmail.com or LookingLuck03@protonmail.com if you're those encrypted types. All right, so don't be shy. Throw me something. Throw a bone at me. Send me your views. I would deeply appreciate it. Love me, hate me, don't matter. Constructive criticism is good. It'll make me better. All right, my friends, that's all for now. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.